going on, you guys? What's up, fam? We're going to test out, I'm going to follow in some people's steps. I want to test out a new scene. So I'm like looking this way because the comments are there because, like I said, I want to test out a new scene, see what that looks like. But what's cracking, family? Let's do this. I haven't done this in a minute. Hold on. What's going on? How you doing? And then one more time. One more again. Hold on. Oh, wait, that was the wrong one. What's cracking, everyone? How are you guys doing? So let me see. I got the scene. Is this the one that I wanted? That's not the one that I wanted. I could have sworn I just moved it. Ooh, let me see. Oh, I didn't. Move it all the way up. Moving on up to the big. I don't know the words to the song. How does that look, guys? Let me know what you think. I was testing this out, testing some new things. Seeing, I can't see it though. I mean, I guess I have my glasses on. See, if I'm gonna put on a hat, I really should wear my contacts, because then like I have the hat and it's like cool but not, and then I put glasses on and like that takes away from my cool factor. That's like indie banker, nerdy India. But so we're gonna test this out for a little bit. But let me say hello to the peeps. What's going on, everyone? How are you guys? So some of you guys already saw giving me some props. I just hit 1,000 subs in, what was it, 3 hours ago? I uploaded a video today for the Rode Wireless Go 2s to connect it to the iPhone with some workarounds. With cables that you may or may not already have. So if you haven't checked that out, definitely make sure that you check that out on my channel, but not right now because we are live, right? And if you don't know and you are new to the channel, my name is India Delgado. I am the only India Delgado that you will find on YouTube. Thank you for coming through and watching and supporting. And today I'm hoping, I feel it in my gut, it is gonna be a great stream. I want to talk about your process, my process for content creation. What's the planning? How do you guys, are you changing it from last year to this year? What have you learned from last year that you're going to put into play this year? Let's share some tips and tricks. I'm going to talk about some of my planning that I already started to put into play and how I'm going to look to continue to plan. So I want to talk about all of that. And definitely we're going to celebrate, right? Because like I said, I just hit 1,000 subs. That took me so long to do. And the biggest reason, honestly, why it took so long to do was because of my lack of consistency. Hence today's topic, planning, right? And execution. Because what happens is you can be so close and you can be so effective, but if you are not executing, then you're not going to get anywhere. So we're going to talk about that. Yes, we are. We're going to talk about that. So what I'm going to do is, because I hate looking away from the camera, I'm going to just move it so I can see you guys over here. And let me just go over to some of these comments. So Kevin says, went to Starbucks the other day and asked if the order on the counter was mine. The answer was your, made me think of you. That is hilarious. So yes, where were you? Let me know. Obviously you just said Starbucks, but like what state? I don't remember what state you're in, Kevin. I was the person that got you over to 1K with another account. Sammy, you're the best. I love you, Sammy. Thank you so much. That was amazing. Dr. Elo's laughing at Sammy. Dr. Elo and I. Dr. Elo, thank you for your service. And all of you guys that have served or are currently serving. Dr. Elo is off and done with his deployment. So I am excited that he is safe and he's home and he's back with his family, because what that means for us in the content creation community is that we get to see Dr. Elo more often. And Dr. Elo and I will be collaborating this year. So we're both very excited for that. Don't forget to hit that lonely thumbs up button. Thank you, my good sir. To the sky. Yes. All right. You guys are saying what's up. Just want to go on. Celebrate, we celebrate. And see, I got Doc. This is why we get along, because we both turn a song into something. Mr. Carlos Martinez, what's cracking? How you doing? Thank you for coming through. Thank you for the support. I appreciate you, my good sir. Did you like the video? Oh my God. So we're going to talk about that. Thank you. We are going to talk about, it's been 11 months. So Kevin, you weren't on the Drop Squad. I don't think you were on the Drop Squad. But I want to talk about that because I do live streams consistently, but I don't upload videos consistently. And there's reasons for that. But when I went back and I looked at when was the last time I did an actual edited video, a pre-recorded and edited video, it was 11 months from now. And that was the loop back video that I did with RK3. And it's like, man, that was a long time ago. And you guys know I bought my house last year. I switched companies. I moved to a whole new state. So 2021 was a year full of lots of positive celebrations. But in between all of that, there was just, for me, I just didn't do it, right? Lack of consistency, lack of planning. And so then getting back into it was me being in my head. Imposter syndrome. Hey, Valley P, what's going up, girl? Thank you for coming through. I appreciate you. So how are you? So we'll talk about this. Carlos asks, how are you prioritizing your job and your passion, your projects, YouTube? So we're going to talk about that because that is, last year was not the year to prioritize any content creation. So it didn't happen. That is the reality. So we'll definitely get into that. Let me favorite that so I don't forget. Kevin is a neighbor. Oh, all right. The loopback video was the bomb. Really helped. So good. Thank you. And RK3 and I are also going to do I'm reading Angie's comment, another collaboration to do a little bit further into loopback, breaking it down, and then also into the other audio hijack that they have. My honey coming through showing support. Hey, girl. Hey. Angelica saying congrats on the 1K. What's up, Laura? How are you? Thank you so much. Nice shirt. You like that? You like that? Somebody tag Mr. James Hicks and send him a Let me get my microphone out the way. Let me do this the right way. Because I am focused. 100%. That is what I am this year. I am focused. So if you don't know, the shirt that I am wearing supports one of the content creators in our community, Mr. James Hicks, and the company that makes the shirt, Press and Sew. They make, if you don't know, you guys probably do know, but I do see some new faces here. If you haven't heard of Sylvia and Andrew Nixon and their company is called Press and Sew, they support almost every single content creator in the LGL community. You can get, if you have logos and you have things that you want to be you would like to be put into shirts and mugs and stuff like that, they're definitely the crew to talk to. So they make shirts. I know. So Dr. Elo has shirts with Press and Sew. Sammy Superstar has shirts with Press and Sew. Doc Rock, Diana Gladney, James Hicks, like the list goes on and on and on and on. And when I saw this shirt, thank you, Paul Duncan. When I saw the shirt, they released it, I think almost 2 weeks ago, and they sent an email. And for me, just the words by itself, focus, like it just stood out. And I was like, oh, absolutely. Because that is the path that I am on for this year. So I'm glad that you noticed it. Dr. Elo saying, what's up to, thank you for tagging him. Dr. Elo saying, what's up to Angie? Appreciate that. So let's get into it. I'll go straight to Carlos's video, comment. So let me go to, nothing takes away from my cool factor. I missed that earlier. Oh, thank you, my good sir. Do I have an awe here? I don't have an awe. I do. I appreciate you. But let's get back to your comments so we can get straight into it. How are you? And this, not just for me, guys, all of you guys. Dr. Elo works for the Coast Guard, and he's a content creator. I feel like Dr. Elo does way more than me as a content creator. He is a dad. He is in the military. He's a content creator. He goes live consistently. He does videos. So definitely, Elo, put your comments and your feedback in the comments because it's a lot, right? And obviously I know that you took a break because you were on deployment, so that's a little different. But when you're not on deployment and you're home, obviously you're still working your 40, 45, however many hours, and you're still killing that stuff out there. So definitely let us know. If I say Sylvia's name 2 more times, she will appear. So Sylvia Nixon and Andrew Nixon. I do know that on Saturdays, their daughter is now in a great dance school and they do dance competitions. So we won't see them as much on Saturdays, unfortunately, but maybe today will be the day. So for me, last year, content creation, in the year of 2021, content creation kind of took, or not kind of, it took a back burner. It took a seat and took a back seat, and it got pushed to the wayside. And it was unfortunate because I really just got heavily into content creation at the end of 2020, early 2021. I started kind of doing my thing, and then life happened. And it was big life events. It wasn't like, right? So I ended up moving out from the place that I was living with my partner at the time, and I didn't work out. And so I had to move out. And I decided, instead of renting and getting a new place, I decided that this was going to be the year that I bought my house. So I bought my house. And I won't go too much into it because for the most part, the community does know, but I bought my house. I was staying with my brother for a little bit of time. So I was like switching from Pittsburgh to Pennsylvania. I hung out with Angie for a good amount of time in Connecticut. So I was like all over the East Coast. Then once I got settled into my job, into the bank, get it together. Once I got settled into the house, I ended up switching banks to get a better opportunity for my profession. And so that stopped everything. And I tried, and those of you guys that have been loyal to me since the beginning have seen I came back in the summertime, and then I was like, yeah, I'm going to come back. And it just, last year wasn't the year for me. And so at the end of this year, I said, no, I need to come back. And so how did I make that happen? The first part was really making sure that you're settled with your real life priorities, right? So paying your bills and, if you have family, making sure you're supporting your family. The other piece of it was that Angie and I started dating last year. And you guys know I had to wine and dine her and had to show her all the good things to hook, line, and sinker and get her in. She'll tell you something else in the comments. Don't believe those comments because they're not true. I was the one. I reeled her in. But anyway, but that was a big thing, right? Starting a relationship, buying a new house, moving to a brand new state, starting in a new company and getting into my role. It was a lot, and all great things. But a lot of that just with the content creation said, and it was done. Everything settled in. And so for me, one of the things that I started doing was I really started writing down all of my ideas of the things that I wanted to do. So that's the first step for me. Putting a plan in process, even if it was chicken scratch, right? So if I had an idea of something that I wanted to do, I made sure that I documented it. Whatever that looked like for me or for you, I would say that that's the first tip that I would give. Document when you have stuff that comes up that you want to attack. So I am a big iPad and iPad pencil, Apple Pencil user. I'm a digital note taker. So I have an application. I use Notability just for my work notes. And then for my content creation, to keep that separate, I use GoodNotes. And so in GoodNotes, I have a separate planner and it's called content creation. And so as I started coming up with ideas, it was just jotting everything down. And we're talking about, this was going back, or has gone back from the summertime of last year. One of the things, and I looked at the date because one of those things was the podcast, and Angie and I are now in the process of getting off the ground. The note that I created for the podcast for ideas of topics, of episodes that we're going to talk about, we started that, I think it was in July of 2021. But that was good because when now, we're ready and we're starting to do things, we have a list of 30 topics. So documentation, how else do I document? If I'm on the road, I will use voice recorder. There's even times where I've texted Angie, an idea comes up and I'll text her and I'll say, hey, just keep note of this. Or I'm texting this here as a placeholder because with the latest updates with Apple, you can actually search keywords in your messages and it'll take you directly to that message. So whatever it takes for you to get your ideas that pop up once your brain is going, put it down in a place that you can go back and reference it. Just don't forget it, right? That's step one. Let me just go back because I see some new comments. Dr. Elo did give us some information. It's all about planning your day. The day has 24 hours. It can be done. You need discipline and dedication and flexibility. Oh, that is a big one. Flexibility, right? That's the biggest thing. Discipline, all three of those, discipline, dedication, and flexibility, I think are huge to balancing, especially when you have a full-time job and you want to get content creation out, and being flexible. because what's going to happen is things are going to come up unexpectedly. You may be too tired from work, or an unexpected meeting, or it's, an unexpected fire, for whatever it may happen, and being flexible to say, all right, this is not going to work today. Let me change my schedule for tomorrow, et cetera, et cetera. You know what I'm going to add to that, and we'll talk a little bit about it later on, but also being kind to yourself, right? Because Dr. Elo says discipline and dedication, and you'll hear that from a lot of content creators. Doc earlier today, if anybody jumped on Doc's live stream earlier today, right? He was talking about progress, perfection, being consistent, right? All of that stuff. But I think the biggest thing with that as well is being kind to yourself, because all of us, we're here. You guys are here consistently. You're supporting, you're a part of different communities, different groups. You're dedicated. But what happens is we're so dedicated that then if things don't go according to plan, sometimes we tend to be really, really hard on ourselves. And then I think with being so hard on yourself, depending on your personality, right? This is not everybody, but for me, depending on your personality, that can actually give you a setback. That can actually hurt you more than it can help you. And so one of the other things for me on learning and getting back into a rhythm was being kind to myself. And I did that in a lot of different ways. It was handling my personal business first. And then outside of that, it was, okay, I need to start getting physically fit again. I need to start really, because for me, that's how I handle my stress. I have to work out. I have to get my endorphins running. And a lot of you guys know that I found cycling. I have my indoor trainer right back there. And then when the weather's nice, I'm outside, I'm riding. So being kind to myself, that it's like, if I don't feel like doing something, it's okay. Let me go out. Let me do something that invigorates me and makes me feel alive. If I was just too tired, just being okay with just taking a break and not beating myself up. But then it's that balance, because you want to be kind to yourself, and yeah, give yourself a break. But then it's like, all right, I need to get it together. And I think that's why then the flexibility ties into it. Because for me, it was like Dr. Elo and I spoke even before this live stream, because that's what has helped me get back into things. So, okay, I'm going to be kind to myself. I'm going to give myself an off day. But then when I give myself an off day, now tomorrow I need to be more flexible and I need to balance it out. I need to say, okay, I wanted to do this, but because this is what I gave myself the day before, this is what's not going to work. So that's a big one. Let me just go back to the comments. Sammy Superstar says, your new set looks nice, but I missed the green screen a little bit. And then Dr. Elo says, India Delgado, I missed the lower left part of your green screen. You know what, y'all? I do miss my green screen at times, and I've thought about maybe setting something up in the back just to have it on days and have that flexibility. But my new set, I'm loving it. I put some TLC in it. It's more of a representation of me. Y'all better leave me alone. Greetings, Gary Jones Jr. What is going on? How are you? Thank you so much. Hook, line, and sinker. Absolutely, you got that, Professor Greg. You had a gay guy on the West Coast that was stalking me online. Absolutely, I did have a gay guy stalking me on the West Coast when I had taken a break, and I was saying, I'm gonna come back. And every time, and you know what? That's not even, we joke and we say that that's stalking, but the biggest part of that is accountability and community. And my puppy is biting my ankles, literally biting my ankles. So before, let me just bring her and sit her on my lap, because you're going to hear me say ow eventually, because she was literally biting my toes. But the accountability is another thing for me. So what did I say? Flexibility, definitely discipline, dedication, being kind for me, planning, getting down my ideas, and then accountability. That's been huge for me with working out. So I'm a part of a cycling club here in Philly. We're called KRT QRT, and committing myself to the cycling group with how many miles I'm going to ride each week, and, different things, not just cycling related, but reading and whatever that is, saying that out loud, and then having a group of supporters to help hold me accountable really works for me and my personality. Go lay down. Really works for me and my personality, because I am huge, and Angie does this for me all of the time. So I'll tell her what it is I'm looking to accomplish, whether it's, immediate short term within the week or short term within the next couple of weeks, and she helps to hold me accountable. She'll tell me, listen, are you sure you want to do that? Because you did say you want to do X, Y, and Z. Maybe not, whether it's eating healthier, maybe not doing this. You can do it 10 more minutes. So accountability is another big thing. Having a support group with whatever it is. So whether that's with content creation, surrounding yourself with fellow content creators, but put yourself out there. It's one thing that we jump on the live stream and we're all supporting each other and, where the comments are great and everybody's active and everybody's engaging. But I think the other big piece of it that again, these are my opinions, but I think that we can do a better job at is to share with each other what we're looking to do and ask each other for help in the form of accountability. So a perfect example for me, I'm in Doc Rock's Gold class where he meets with his Gold members once a week, and he asks us, what are your wins? What are your goals? What are your whatevers? And for me, my first week, which was a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, I said I'm going to create and upload my very first video in January. I'm going to continue to get things off the ground with the podcast, with Angie. But I said that to a group of 10 people. And it was like, although I was saying that out loud, I was making that commitment more to myself, right? And then having people that knew. So Paul and I was messaging. I've messaged Paul Duncan almost every day, and I'm like, all right, I just recorded the video. Tomorrow I'm gonna edit. Then once I uploaded the video, I was like, all right, it's done. This is where I'm at, right? So having that accountability has been huge, but you have to put yourself out there. You have to be willing to put yourself out there to be held accountable. Because if you have a group and you don't ask for it and you don't say, hey, look, this is what I'm looking to accomplish. These are what my goals are. Can I rely on you? Can I ask you to help keep me on track? Whether it's asking where I stand with my progress, whether it's giving me a swift kick in the butt, whatever that looks like for you. And obviously the relationships with people that you're going to have will vary. Dr. Ela does it with me too. Dr. Ela will text me every so many couple of months. We're supposed to get together. As soon as he got off deployment, I think it was Dr. Ela, wasn't it the day that you were done? I know that, because this is what I do. Lock your scenes, India. Hold, please. Let me lock my scenes. Let me take care of that. We were just talking about this in a class that I was in with, let me, hold on. My scene is locked. Don't want to do that again. But Dr. Elo had messaged me, I think it was 2 weeks ago, last week, Saturday. I don't know. I was going to sleep because I do go to sleep early. And he, said, listen, I'm off from deployment. We're going to have to link up because you and I, me and you got some plans. And I'm like, all right, yes, I'm going to sleep. And I actually didn't text him back the next day because I was going to sleep. But you get the process, right? I've put myself out there. There's people that I talk to consistently, my partner, my best friends, you guys in the community. And then I say, listen, I want to be held accountable. So reach out to me, back me up against the corner, and call me out. Let me know. You said you were going to do X, Y, and Z. Why haven't you done it? Let's get back to some of these comments because I know that some of the comments have been coming through. Valley says, you love your iPad and pencil. Notability and Note Shelf. I've known about Note Shelf. I don't think I've ever actually used it. So I have to get into the world of Note Shelf because I love having options. So that's cool. Notability has been like my go-to. I've been using Notability for about 3-4 years probably now. Love, love, love. Dr. Elo says, I ordered my iPad mini in December, still waiting for it. Arrives in February, hopefully. Dr. Elo, so listen to me because India is a person that has an issue with instant gratification. I ordered mine in December as well. No one had them in stock because it was right around Christmas time. And you know that I'm about 40 minutes away from Delaware. For those of you guys that didn't know, Delaware is a no sales tax state. So when you are going to buy pricier electronics, that is the place to go buy from if you're close, because you will save a couple of $100 or, a good $30, $40, $50. Obviously, if it's, $20, the amount of gas, if you're not there, it doesn't make sense. But Dr. Elo, the mall, Christiana Mall in Delaware, had them in stock. I reserved that bad boy and drove. Angie will tell you, I drove the next day and went to the Apple store and picked it up in December. I was not waiting 2 months. But anyway, Professor Greg says, amen. Self-compassion is this in this kind of side hobby is essential. Absolutely. Right. And it took me a while to learn that and to find out how to be compassionate with myself in a way that it really like is self-love. Right. And to just work all of those things through. Carlos says, when we aren't on our A game, we need to practice acceptance and self-compassion. Absolutely. Dr. Elo says he loves that, being kind to yourself. Yes, please be kind to yourself. Forget that green screen. This looks amazing. Thank you so much. My puppy cuteness. Yes, the puppy is cute, but a pain in the butt. All right, Carlos says the brain thrives with the release of endorphins. Carlos, explain what do you do again? Because I know that this has something to do with your profession. So he's not just saying this. This is an actual... the brain thrives with the release of endorphins, dopamine, oxytocin, etc. Mind and body are totally connected. The bike is an endorphin machine. 100%. I hate riding indoors because it's nothing like outdoor riding. But when I am out there, and it's hard to explain to people that don't cycle, but when I am outdoors and I'm riding, I feel like I'm free. It is for me, the best feeling in the world. Very addicting. So. Oh, you like my puppy? Her name is Koa. I got her last week Saturday, which is why I didn't stream, because I drove almost 14 hours round trip, 6.5 hours from my house down to North Carolina. He had a litter and he gave me my pup, or me and Angie, the pup, and I went to go get her, hung out with my cousin for a bit, and then drove back, and I was spent 13 hours, 14 hours on the road. Same day, right? It was the same day that you got off the deployment, right? So again, accountability, because Dr. Elo has his own goals. He knows what he wants to get done, and he wants to do some things with me that we've been talking about since 2020, once I actually started content creating. So we're not even talking about last year. We're talking about a year and a half ago when Dr. Elo and I first became friends. There were plans that we've been in the mix. And I will say that Dr. Elo has been definitely very adamant. I will take accountability. A lot of it has been on me. So, but he reached out to me, and that's kind of where we're at right now. Mr. Riley's West Side, what's cracking, Mr. Riley? How are you doing? So yeah. So we talked about discipline. We talked about being kind to yourself. That's a big one. And that's in anywhere in life, right? That's not just with content creation, but that's with if you're a parent. So Angie and I, Angie's a single mom. She has her kids, and we talk about that from a parenting aspect, being kind to yourself as a parent, because for those of you guys that are parents here, I am a puppy parent and now a step parent, but it's not the same. But being kind to yourself and, working through that is huge. Being kind to yourself as you're in your profession, whether it is, are you liking what you're doing? Are you not liking? Are you failing? Are you succeeding? Are you kind of in a complacent state? And then your health, all of that stuff is huge. So, but what I can say from my experience, me personally, is that once you get into that habit and that routine of being kind to yourself, it becomes very easy to apply in all of those facets of your life. So whether it's your career, whether it's your health, whether it's, for yourself, what does that look like to you? And applying that so that you can manage and you can just shake off the cobwebs and move forward. Carlos says, that's why it's so challenging. Healthy accountability requires vulnerability. Ooh, you are. I like that. I'm going to favorite that one too. Healthy accountability requires vulnerability. That is amazing. And it's true, right? So that goes back to what I was saying, that you have to put yourself out there and ask for help. Because believe it or not, we have a lot of supporters in our corner. We have a lot of people that want to see us succeed, whether it's your loved ones, whether it's your partner, husband or wife, significant other, your children, your best friends, your coworkers, your peers in the content creation space. There are people out there that want to see you succeed. So if you go to one of those loved ones and you say, hey, I need some help. I would like for you to hold me accountable. And again, whatever that looks like for you, for me personally, I need that swift kick in the butt of just call me out. And Paul will be the first one, Dr. Elo and Angie, the three of them that are in the chats right now will say, yes, they have no problems keeping it 100 and calling it like it is and saying, and Doc, he's not here, but that is what it is, right? But it had to be me to put myself out there, to open myself up and to ask for help. A lot of people, it's really hard for people for whatever reason. Maybe it's imposter syndrome. Maybe it's, keeping yourself sheltered because you're so used to doing everything on your own. A lot of us struggle with that, of doing everything on their own. And so Paul says, boot at the ready. Yes, he has sent me. I can send you guys screenshots. Don't make me do a screen share, Paul, where he has sent me messages on Facebook Messenger with just the boot. And I'm like, okay, all right, I get it. But, going back to being vulnerable, that is huge with opening yourself up. And you got to figure that out on your own, right? Figuring that out on your own on, can you open yourself up? How hard is it for you? How much are you going to open yourself up to? And what's the purpose? I'm happy to say that I'll open myself up. I'll put myself out there. I think that for me, it has been easier for me because with this job, I have to do public speaking. So whether it's now in the world that we live in through Zoom classes, but before I was presenting to groups of as much as 60 people when I do my financial literacy classes. If that is not a form of vulnerability where you are supposed to be standing in front of a group of 60 people and telling them, whatever it is, explaining whatever you're the topic expert, the subject matter expert. That'll humble you real quick. That is the epitome of being vulnerable. So I've overcome that now where it's like, okay, I'm gonna do this, right? And that's made it very easy for me now to open myself up. And then the other thing, like I was just saying, right, that you covet things. You are this is a world that it's like everybody has to do something on their own. It's the world of independent, right? Beyonce and independent ladies, right? Like we gotta be independent. We gotta do stuff on our own. So how dare we ask for help? And that can be so detrimental to your personal growth. There's a difference between taking advantage and asking for help, right? Again, when you're talking about kids, it takes a village to raise a family, 1 child, 2 child, 3 children, however many kids. It takes a village to have a family together, and you got to ask for help. You can't do that on your own. It's the same thing. Excuse me. It's the same thing when you're creating content. It takes a village because you should have a mentor. You should have a few mentors, for me, because you may learn differently or there's different aspects of how people have done things and how people can teach in different walks of life. So make yourself vulnerable and creating a village of mentors, of people for you to mentor yourself, for you to give that knowledge back. And then just saying, yeah, I can help you with that. Listen, people want to be wanted. That is in like our psyche, right? That is in our brain. That makes us thrive. When someone goes to you and says, listen, I want your help. I need your help. You're like, me? You want my help? Of course I'll help. If you're a nice person, because some people are like, no, why are you asking me for help? But if you're a nice person, you're probably flattered to be asked for help, and you'll jump at that opportunity. But if the other person isn't willing to ask for help, that's not going to work. So definitely putting yourself out there. What did that look like for me? So that for me, the first step in that was coming back into the different spaces of the communities that I'm in, whether it's with Sylvia. Sylvia Nixon has her own, it's called Well Prayer Group. And that's for me and my spirituality, to get closer to God and to just really build up my spirituality. I talk to Sylvia 2 to 3 times a week, and she's really helped me with that piece of myself. But I had to go and ask. And that's also an ongoing thing. That doesn't stop. You have to consistently put yourself out there, Because, and this is like with a mentor, right? And I learned this very early on. Before I was a loan officer, I used to be a bank manager, and I've played both the roles at the bank. I was a mentor and I was a mentee. I learned this as a mentee. And we went through, you know how they have, when you work for a corporation, they send you to all those trainings and they'll get a public speaker, all of that. Yeah, goodness. But one of the things that I learned when I was, going into the program for the mentor mentee, as a mentee, a lot of people have that misconception that if you have a mentor, it is the job of the mentor to teach you and to assume what you know and what you don't know, and that it is the mentor's job to follow up with you, and it is the mentor's job to check in with you. No, sir or ma'am, you are wrong. That is not the mentor's job. That is the mentee's job. That is your responsibility to set a plan, to have actionable goals, to put yourself out there, to state what you know, what you don't know. And then it's your responsibility as the mentee to constantly check in, right? And respecting the mentor's time. So if you know that you need to have a conversation, so like with Doc, I knew what I wanted to get planned before January 31st. What I wanted to get planned before January 31st was to continue to get the podcast off the ground with me and Angie. So what did that look like? That's all technical stuff with equipment, lighting, doing test runs and things like that. And then on my side of the content creation space, it was to actually take one of those ideas that I jotted down and apply it. Record a video, edit said video, and upload said video. I said, I need to do one video before this month is over. And because that was very serious to me, I reached out to Doc and I said, okay, this is what I'm looking to do. This is what I'm looking to achieve. I need help, right? So as Doc is my mentor and me as the mentee, I reached out to him and he gave me the time. I did it according to his schedule. He gave me the time. We spoke about it. And then as I continued to progress, so when I did record the video, I followed up with him and he helped me celebrate that success, right? But that's not his job unless you specifically ask for it, right? So the accountability goes two ways. Unless I would have said, Doc, if you haven't heard from me in a week, and if you've heard a peep, do me a favor, shoot me a text, do me a favor, go on a live stream and call me out, right? But if I don't tell Doc and I don't give Doc that authority, he's not going to do it. That's not his responsibility, right? So you got to make sure that you're putting yourself out there and you're very specific and you're very clear with what your intentions are. So I got a bunch of comments. Let me just go back. So Sajatha, let me know if I enunciated your name properly, because I do not names. That is you. I want to make sure that I get it right. I don't want to butcher it. But I feel like it might be Sajatha. Lee, 100% is showing love. Yes. And Mr. Riley's World says, every time I hop on, he's talking about, because I love cycling, because I'm addicted. First of all, it's expensive, but it is for me. I've tried different things. I've worked out. I've done CrossFit. I do love CrossFit. I've used a personal trainer. I've worked out on my own. Running was a quick yes or no, right? Like, not for me. And when I found cycling, like that was it for me. And because it is literally like my drug, listen, when you addicted, you talking about it morning, noon, and night. So yes, I am sending you a subliminal message because I haven't seen you live the weather. What's the weather out there right now? Let me know, because you could be cycling outdoors. It snowed almost 12 inches out here in Philly last night. Okay, sir. All right. Carlos says, for most people, reaching out for help they really need is difficult. Fear of rejection, fear of burdening others, fear of being misunderstood, etc. Carlos, first of all, Carlos, please come on more often because I'm loving your comments tonight. This is amazing. And I love this. And then Paul further says, fear of having to be accountable. So I'm going to favorite these two. We're going to come back to the comments. I'm going to keep on going. Mr. Riley says, this is good. I think I need I need to think about having a real content mentor. You should. You absolutely should. And sometimes it takes form of people that, like, Doc and Diana don't necessarily call themselves my mentor. You know what I mean? But I look at them as my mentors. And I go to the both of them individually for when I need stuff, or the three of us will literally hop on a video call at the same time and we'll collectively talk about whatever it is, or, it'll be Diana talking about what she has going on and me and Doc are listening, or vice versa. But having a mentor with anything is huge in life. All right. Caleb, what's going on, my good sir? Thank you for coming through. It's all good. We are happy to have you here. What's up, sir? How are you? All right. And then plan the next one. Yes, I am going to plan the next one. Ooh, Sahatha. Oh, that's good. I'm so glad I asked. Did I get it right this time? Sahatha. Very expensive. Yeah, cycling is 70 degrees and cloudy on the West Coast. You know what? It's like 0, I think, in Angie in Connecticut, where she's at, because Angie's right by Rhode Island. Angie, let me know if you're still listening, what the weather is out there in Connecticut. And I'm not going to be friends with you until it becomes springtime again out here, because I'm just not here for it. Anyway, consider them video mentors as well. Their content is amazing, 100%. Carlos says, it takes a village to thrive. Anyone can just get by, 100. All right, so let me go back to those 2 comments. So Carlos says, for most people, reaching out for help they really need is difficult. Fear of rejection, fear of burdening others, and fear of being misunderstood. And then Paul just piggybacks off of that, fear of having to be accountable. So here's the thing, not necessarily for Paul's comment, because I think that's a different mindset. So I'll go back to that. With this stuff here, with it being difficult, of the fears of rejection, burdening others, being misunderstood, I think that's where community really comes into play, that will overcome those objections, right? Being in a specific community. So like I said, I love cycling, and I know what I'm looking to accomplish this year in cycling for 2022 and beyond. And so I immediately, when I moved to Philly and I got my bike, I immediately started looking for cycling clubs out here in Philly, because I knew that I wanted to be a part of a community that was like-minded as me and shared that passion, and would help me reach my goals. And we already on 2022, so we participate in Slack. So we're in the group chat. We use the app Slack, and so it stands for Kings Rule Together for KRT, and then QRT is Queens Rule Together. So we have a general group chat, and then the queens are separate with their own stuff. You get the picture. But with the QRT, with our thread, every week on Mondays, we hold each other accountable with what our goals look like for that week. And it's not just cycling related. So for some of us, for me, my goals that are not cycling related are to read at least two books a month, every month. So 24 books for the year, right? I'm already 1.5 books down. So I have 2 days? I have 2 more days to finish reading the other half of my book. But then it's, cooking in the house instead of buying out, working out, etc. And that helps. And so putting ourselves out there, we know I don't feel like it's a burden when I'm asking for that type of help with that group, because we already set that intention. So it's like, all right, what's your plans? And again, that's collectively as a group, that's the expectation is already set. The same thing with content creation. So Carlos, you're in the Discord, right? Like, obviously, so there's the doc, he has his gold group, he has his the bronze group that he meets every week. Diana has her community that she just launched yesterday, right? When you become a part of, and then there's like Caleb and I, we're both in Doc's group, and we're both in Tom Buck's and Heather Ramirez's group, Just Create More, right? Just Create Content. We're a part of these communities, so to put ourselves out there, it's not going to be as difficult. Of course, it's still, you're asking a stranger. It's still kind of, I think you'll have that little bit of anxiety, right? The angst of asking. But when you do it with the right group, it should be easier, and that those fears of rejection or being misunderstood, right? So if you're asking for help with accountability in content creation, I wouldn't ask my cycling crew to help me, to hold me accountable with creating videos, right? Like I wouldn't do that, because like they're definitely going to be like, what? And they may say yeah, but it's not going to be the same type of accountability. So I think that helps with that. And then the fear. So now I'll go back to Paul's comment, because that it's off the piggyback off of that, but then it's not, right? I think that's more of an internal thing. The fear of having to be accountable. And I think that's a whole nother can of worms. Purely, and this is all like my opinion, but I think fear of being accountable will be maybe a cultural thing. It'll be how you were raised. I think that, right, and without getting too controversial and getting off topic, that fear of being accountable can really go back with a lot of things. So I grew up in a very strict Latino household, and my dad was all for accountability. I am the oldest of 3. So I had to be very responsible at a very young age because my parents relied on me a lot. And if I didn't, sometimes, we think about that now and it's like, did my parents put too much pressure on me? But then I go back and maybe they did, but I'm the person that I am, whether it's a successful banker or now a new budding content creator. I'm as dedicated and I'm as disciplined as I am because my parents held me accountable. That's how I was raised. And I'm not scared to be held accountable. It's like, am I a little lazy sometimes to put in the work? Naturally, we all are, right? But so like I said, without being too controversial, I think that's we can open up so many different cans of worms with that. All right. So Mr. Riley says, I have no excuse for not writing. Tom Buck in the house. Yeah. What's going on, Tom Buck? What's cracking? How are you? Mr. Tom Buck, I hit 1,000 subscribers today. I uploaded my first recorded video that I haven't done in 11 months. Lots of wins. We winning. We winning. We winning. I just had to do the happy dance because that was huge. Huge, huge, huge. Anyway, Sahatha, yep, you're right. And I think I'm finally ready to act upon the advice I am given by my mentors. Ooh. So that's another good one because, and I'm favoriting these. I want to go back through the comments and stuff because I want to make sure. All right, so Sahatha, I'm going to go back to yours. The doc group is great. You're also in Tom's group. Sam, yeah, did I see you the other day? But yes, I just joined Tom's group 2 weeks ago, so still very new. Let's see. Carlos says that's the key. India, safe people who can hold your vulnerability with care and are non-judgmental. Unsafe people are always seeking to fix, analyze, and advise. Carlos, you are like killing it today, so I'm gonna favorite that. All right, yes, celebration on the 1,000. I know, that's like I was. So good. All right. Sammy says, I'm on 95% of the groups. I know that you are on 95% of the groups. But that's good. That's a good thing, right? Because you are getting all the exposure. All right. So let's go back to the comment from Sahatha. So Sahatha says, you're right. And I think I'm finally ready to act upon the advice that I am being given by my mentors. And that is huge. So why did I bring that up? Because that's going to happen because a lot of it, and this goes back to what Dr. Elo said about dedication and discipline, so dedication and discipline, or something I learned back when I worked for Wells Fargo, my district manager, when I was at Wells Fargo, one of the things that he said that really stuck with me was when you're looking at a person and you're trying to gauge their skills or, what they're capable of, it can be one of two things. It's either a skill issue or it is a will issue, right? So I'm going to say that again. It can be skill or it can be will. So what does that mean? We'll do the will. So you can have the skills and the tools need to accomplish whatever it is you are looking to accomplish. But if you do not have the will to do that, then it's not going to work, right? Or in retrospect, you can have the will to do it. You can have that dedication. You can have that discipline. But if you don't have the skills, then you just can't do it. It's impossible if you don't have the skills. Until you try, you fail, you try again, you fail, you try again, and eventually you'll get it. That's what happens, and that's how you build a skill, right? You got to keep trying. It's okay to fall, brush yourself back off, get back up again, try again, and you are going to sharpen your skills. But you have to have the will to sharpen those skills, right? So, and I'm not trying to call you out, Sahata. Don't this is no shade on you, but I think that this is important because even for me, and that's why I said, I need to talk about this. Because with Doc and Diana, I can tell you going back on even in 2020, before all the craziness happened in my life last year, back in 2020, Doc and Diana gave me tons of advice. But I didn't have the will to do it at that time. And there were outside factors. There were, so sometimes there's outside factors that are, fully justifiable. And then sometimes the outside factors are just, you don't have the will to do it. And so that is huge. And that has to come from within. If you do not get it, and if you do not have that will, and you have to find that. Right? So it's like finding your calling, finding your passion. If you are not in that space to push yourself, it doesn't matter what your mentors or the people in your community do it, what your people are holding you accountable to. If the will is not there, then you are never going to succeed. So, going back to Carlos's first question, the first question was, how are you prioritizing your job, your passion, your projects? And then he was just, explaining what that was. Well, that's the first thing. This year, I have the will. Last year, I didn't have the will, and I didn't have the mental capacity to do it. But this year, I have much more mental space, and I have the will to do it. So that was the first underlying factor to get me off my butt and say, all right, we're going to make this happen. Because the will and the drive was there. I have the skill, but now I'm sharpening the skills, right? So what was the other stuff, right? So Sahata says, all right, I love that. I'm dedicated to self-discipline. That's it, right? And it comes in ebbs and flows because there's going to be, and it's either ebbs and flows or it's seasons of your life, depending on what season you're in. So again, I'm talking to you guys about my personal situation. Last year, look at who shut up. Paul Dixon. How did we get Sylvia Nixon? Oh. My love, Sylvia. I was talking all good things about you guys earlier. And Paul says, if you say her name 2 more times, she will show up. And my honey did not disappoint. Girl, she is here. And so this is Sylvia Nixon of Press and So. For those of you guys that don't know her, her and her hubby created this shirt here for Mr. James Hicks. Their website is in the chat above, Press and So definitely either reach out if you want to support a fellow content creator like Sammy Superstar, Dr. Elo, Doc Rock, blah, blah, blah. I already did the spiel. But she is here. I love you, girl. And then I was talking about you in the Well Perea group, how you were helping me with my spirituality and getting closer to Jesus. All right, anyway. See, Paul says, I told you, say Sylvia's name 3 times and she will appear. It's true. Yes. All right. We are in here. All right. So getting back to what we were talking about, right? Skill, will, last year I had a lot of stuff that was going on. We were talking about ebbs and flows and being in a season. And I can tell you that. And see, Sylvia came in like literally right in time because that stuff about seasons of your life and being in the season and knowing what your season is, I've learned that from Sylvia. And being okay, so then that goes back to self-love. That goes back to discipline because sometimes you're in a season where you just have to say, God is in your hands. I'm just going to take a step back. Well, that should be all the time, the reality. But there's times where you just are not going to do it. And then there's times where it's like, all right, let's get this. God, you were giving me these opportunities and I'm going to get it. Like, I'm going to take it and run and give me. And I'm going to, so knowing those seasons and knowing those ebbs and flows of what works for you is definitely going to help to make you put your plan in place to be a content creator. So I was talking about, before I saw Sylvia's beautiful face, I was talking about sharpening skills, right? So Paul, thank you very much for putting Press and Sew. That is the website. Check it out. Carlos says, I don't think you would be back to content creating if you weren't able to accept your situation last year and practice self-compassion. It sounds like your life is much more manageable today. 100%. That's exactly what it is, right? So the ebbs and flows, the seasons, and that's what happened. I was fighting it last year. So Carlos, I'm so glad that you say that, because I was fighting it. I want it, because for me, it's the accountability that I had a community religiously. There are religious people that come, not literally religious, but my religious followers, my loyal followers, my dedicated followers in the community. Paul is one of them. Sylvia is one of them. Miggs is on here all the time. What's cracking? How are you doing? Sammy Superstar, right? There's certain members of the community that I come on and I just know that they're going to be on to support me, right? And so because of that, I felt like I just had to come on. I had to come on. I was doing way too much and I was putting too much pressure on myself. And then finally, that's where that self-love and that self-care came into place. And I said, you know what? It's okay. And a lot of it was Sylvia. Sylvia was like, listen, if you need to stream just once a month, then you need to stream once a month. You need to just stop and slow down a little bit, right? So having those conversations, but again, mentors, different people that I can go to, and not necessarily just a mentor, but different friends from different avenues and different aspects of their lives, right? There's things that I don't know everything. I'm not in every culture, like all of that stuff. Being able to learn and grow from that is huge. And so you're 100%, Carlos, recognizing where I was, recognizing my season. And it was like, oh my God, I just bought my first house. Oh my God, that's so amazing. And I wanted to share it. And so if you go to my YouTube channel, you'll see the mess of my house. And I shared it with the crew. And, I put it on my YouTube channel and I was like, all right, this is going to be great. And you're going to see the studio build out. And then I disappeared for like 3 months. Right. And then finally I let go. It was, I think the last time I really posted was maybe in like July or August. And finally I let go and I just stopped trying at that point. And I reset. The dust settled. And now here we are, where I'm consistently streaming again. I've gotten my first video uploaded again. It's edited. And now I'm back onto a planning stage. So recognizing that and being okay with that and understanding that there were other things going on is huge for your growth, your internal growth, because the sooner and the easier that you can make that for yourself, it's like you'll be able to do more twofold, right? Sometimes you need to step back, reset, and reassess. Exactly. 100%. And that was definitely, me last year. I was like, all right, I got to slow down. This is not working for me. Iron sharpens iron. So thank you for the reminder. Mr. Riley. So going back, right, to skills, building skills. So we were talking about a will versus a skill. Do you have the will? Do you have the skill? Do you not have the will or the skill? You're in a whole nother, if you don't have the will or the skill, I can't help you, right? Nobody can help you. Jesus, take the will. He's going to help you. If you don't have the will or the skill. But if you got one or the other, it's a little bit easier if you have the will and not have the skill. For me, when I used to be a manager, I wanted employees all day that were hungry, that had the will, because I can teach somebody how to sell. If you got the will, I can teach you how to sell. I can teach you how to talk to strangers. I can teach you how to count money because I worked for a bank. I can teach you all of those things if you have the will. I just have to find out how you learn and what motivates you. But because you have the will, I'm going to help you. We're going to get there together. When you don't got the will, no one can help you but yourself at that point. So understanding where you are in that part of your life is going to be huge to moving on to the next level. Let me take some water. Give me 1 second, guys. Excuse me. Because you guys got me talking tonight. Sahatha says, this is all great advice. Thanks. Well, thank you. Thank you for coming in and staying on and chatting up with us. That's important, right? I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for any of you guys. You guys want to listen to me. So thank you. Carlos says, that's interesting, India. It seems like your faith includes learning to depend on something greater than yourself. Sounds like the path of serenity. And that's huge, right? And you're 100% right. For me, that's what I have So I actually see a mindfulness coach, a spirituality coach outside of Sylvia every 2 weeks. I meet with her and we talk about that stuff. I try to every morning be mindful with myself and understanding that the faith in something greater than me at work. And that has helped me. That has helped me with everything and where I'm at in my life. So you're 100%. Excuse me. Feel So Alive says, just dropped in, needed to step back also and stop doing lives. Also just starting to feel the juice start. And that's it. And that's okay. Because if you know what you're doing, like, of course, stuff is going to drop off. And of course, people are going to drop off and things like that. But you'll pick back up again. You just dust your shoulders off, right? You better get that dirt off your shoulders. Somebody called Doc Rock because he got me all. And my God, my God, this guy right here. Did I get it right, Keith? Did I get it right? What's going on, brother? That is my big brother, Keith. From the Convos, love me, Keith. Anyway, Paul says, God can't help you if you don't take the first step. Ooh, that's a good one. And that's right? God is obviously, and I don't, not that I'm afraid to talk about it, but I don't know people, everyone has different religions and I respect that. So whatever God you serve, right? That can be the Messiah. That can be God, Jesus Christ. That can be whoever that is, right? So I don't want to get too into religion, but you're 100% right. You have to take the first step first and recognize that. And then that's with anyone, with mentors, with your partner, nobody know. You don't know what you don't know, right? So it's like, if you're arguing with your partner and your partner don't know why, they don't know what they don't know. You got it. Somebody help me. So God is saying that, help me to help you. Your mentors are saying, help me to help you. You got to take that first step first. Anyway, want to grow in humility, practice willingness. Yes. 100. Yep. My God. Anyway, that's an internal joke with me and Keith. He was teaching me how to do that the other day. Anyway. All right. So we went through a lot. I've been streaming for a little bit over an hour. Let me just kind of give a recap really quick. So the premise of this really, one, was to celebrate Keith. You just came through, but Keith, I'm going to say it because we celebrating. Keith, I just hit 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, bro. I just uploaded my first edited video, recorded and edited video in the last 11 months. So we are winning. We are winning. That is a huge, we got Reverend India tonight. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I have been preaching all day and you came in late, but that's all right, sir, because I'm going to bless you too. Anyway, so we were just talking about balancing everything. That was really the biggest premise, right? Just balancing everything. How do you balance your full-time job? How do you balance podcasting, all of that stuff? The biggest thing, right, is planning. But what does that planning look like for you? For me, it has been figuring out really time blocking, I guess, is the biggest thing. I have to see it. I have to visualize it on paper. So I started off with one of the best practices for me was, as I get ideas, putting that down, using my iPad and my Apple Pencil, texting Angie so that I don't forget that idea. Or if I'm driving, I'll tell her, babe, can you text me this? Right? Whatever that works. So documentation, putting whatever it is that you're looking to do down on paper. Because it's kind of like back in the day, right? When we used to have to write essays in school, they would say, start with an outline. Or when you're looking to write an essay, get your ideas on paper. It don't have to make sense, but get your ideas on paper. Just write down. And then once you get your ideas on paper, go back and then start to refine those ideas. So that's the same thing with me, with how I started to now create my process for what I want this year to look like, right? So I want to make sure that I'm uploading at least, so I'm looking to consistently live stream at least every weekend. I know that I won't be able to do it every weekend, but every other weekend, do the live stream, keep the same Saturday nights, and then upload at least 2 videos a month. If I can do more than 2 videos a month, great. But again, being realistic of what the whole big picture for me. So I do still have a full-time job. I'm still working out on the bike. That takes a lot of time. Spending time with my partner, that's time, right? I got a little pain in the butt puppy that was biting my ankles earlier. That's now a whole new time sucker for me. So being realistic and saying, all right, I know that I can do my live streams, no problem. That's cool. Saturdays, that works. There's really not, like, there's planning, but live streams for me come easier than actual videos. So the videos, that's a longer process. So let me be realistic. 2 times a month, I know I can do. 3 times or more, don't get ahead of yourself, right? Like, because I still have to sharpen those skills. What are the skills that I have to sharpen with that? Because I have a ton of ideas of things. And I'm telling Paul, I want to record this video. Paul, I have to record that video. And when I'm going to record this video. So the ideas for me, I have, where now iron sharpening iron, right? And where now me sharpening my skills is getting, what does that look like? So one of my biggest challenges with creating content is not rambling, because I do that here. You know, Paul, we were joking last week because he says I easily get distracted by squirrels. 100% I easily get distracted by squirrels. Like, if you look at all of my live streams, just go to the end of the live stream. You don't even have to watch the whole live stream, but if you just start from the back at the end and work your way back or to the beginning, you'll see how many times I'm like, all right, guys, I'm going to end it. And then I look down at a comment and I'm like, and I just get back into it. And then I'm like, all right, guys, really, we're going to end it. And then I get back, right? So not getting distracted is huge for me. Not rambling is huge, especially when you are looking to create pre-recorded videos that it's going to be quality videos. So everybody's saying celebration. Yes, a celebration. This was huge. This was definitely huge for me. Yes. And I'm just looking at the comments. And long distance, right? And to boot, it's a relationship. It's also a long distance relationship. We live 3.5 hours away from each other without traffic. And so that's time consuming, right? Because there's not really much I can do unless we're talking about the podcast. That's a whole nother thing. But like, in terms of my video content, I can't do anything when I'm in the car driving to her for 3.5 hours. Like, that's just dead time. Mostly do live. Took me time to understand my lane, right? So understanding where your strengths are, play to your strengths. Let your strengths work for you, and then sharpening your skills where your weaknesses are and where your opportunities. And I don't, this is definitely the coach in me, the leader in me. I hate saying weaknesses. I would much rather use opportunity. Weaknesses have, the word weak has a negative connotation to it. And, you know, when you're looking to get better or when you're looking to uplift someone, you never want to use words with a negative connotation, right? So from me back when I was a manager, where I was coaching people and leading people, was very conscious of using that word. So it was, what are your strengths and where are your opportunities? Because opportunity means that there's room to grow. You may not be the best in it, right? But there's room to grow. How do we help you strengthen those skills? So understanding what my opportunities are, and then creating a plan. So the big one was really just working on not rambling and getting to the point. And so when I called, right, so this goes back to reaching out to my mentors and understanding, all right, this is what it is, right? So from the first step with that was analyzing, understanding. So assessing yourself and having a good, being able to have that self-assessment, the self-awareness is also huge, because sometimes you may think that you are all that in a bag of chips, and you are not. So understanding and also being real with yourself and saying, you know what? There's some room for improvement there. The quicker you get to that, the quicker you'll be able to really flourish and grow and build upon those skills. So doing a true and honest self-assessment of where your opportunities are, so that you can create a plan around it, is going to be huge. So I understood that my opportunity was that it was hurting me, because I know that I like to talk a lot. I know that I'll get off topic and I'll ramble and stuff. And so what was happening was, every time I had intentions of doing something, I wouldn't do it. Or I would do it and then it'd be 3 hours, right? I'm recording on Ecamm and it's like 3 hours long because I did a 20 million outtakes. I started again and started again and started again. And then I have videos that I never even wanted to edit because I was like, I'm not going through 3 hours of bad takes. Not doing it. And so nothing came of it. And then what happened was that it eventually got to, I'm not even going to sit down in the studio and do it. So here's a perfect example of that. Watch the video that I released today, not because I want you to watch. I mean, I want you to watch the video. Hit that like and subscribe button, y'all. Get my watch time up. But why I really want you to watch that video is because I did that video in 2 different takes. Now, I'm not going to say how long the takes were, but what I will say, and I'll tell you, but what does that mean? I hit Ecamm. I use Ecamm to record my videos. I started to record and I had everything set up. I had my overhead camera, right? So I had my shot with my overhead camera. I had everything going. Let me see. Where are we? Right? So I had this scene set up because I set up this scene. And then I also had this scene set up where it was the overhead camera. I had the Rode wireless goes and I had it set up. I even put it on my Stream Deck so that I can be good to go or whatever. I had already I did put down some bullets so that I knew what I was going to talk about. And one of the things that Doc helped me with, because I told him, listen, I don't want to ramble. So should I do a script? And Doc said, your personality won't do well with a script. Your personality, you can use bullets, but that's gonna hurt you. And because he said, people thrive off of your energy. Your flow is who you are. So you just got to let it flow. So he said, why don't you try to just get the message out in 3 minutes? That's what I want you to try. And I said, all right, cool. And that's what I set out to do. I said, all right, I'm going to record this Rode Wireless Go video in 3 minutes. Now, I didn't do it in 3 minutes. It's right at 5 minutes, which is, I think, huge. But there was an outro, a little intro thing. And, I could have stopped when we got to the headphones and stuff. But I think in 5 minutes, it was pretty good for what I did. So 2 takes. The first take, I did it. I had the scenes. I did mess up a few times. Let's say each take, I think the first take was maybe 45, let's say 40 minutes of recording. And then the second take was 45 minutes of recording. That's it. The first take, and what had happened with the first take, and this is why there was a second take, was because, when you're recording, you also just want to stop and pause, right? Catch your breath, get your thoughts again together, because you want to make sure that you're not rambling and you can edit that stuff out. So there was, at one point, I stopped. I wanted to make sure I wanted to get the next scene right. And so then I had hit pause on Ecamm to record. And so then I got my breaths again and I did the smile and hold, the Diana smile and hold. And I started talking again. And I went into it and did the whole thing. So when I went to hit, and for those of you guys that are really use Ecamm a lot to record and stuff, so you hit record. Once you hit record in Ecamm, there is a pause and there is a finish button. So when you're done, I went to go hit the finish button. Well, there was a resume. And I said, why does this say resume? You know why it said resume? Because when I hit pause, I forgot to hit resume when I did the smile and hold. And I kept talking. And I was just like, so I could have recorded that whole video probably in about 45 minutes. But I forgot to hit resume. And then what was even worse was that I forgot. I don't know when I hit pause initially. So it's not like I could have restarted. I didn't know where to pick back up again because I was done with the whole gosh darn video. So I took a few deep breaths. I finished that video and I started a second video, which was the second take. That's why there is a second take, in my records, because I had to start all over again. But what I will say, here's a tip. What I will say was doing that test run, my second take was much shorter because I had already gone through it. So it was kind of like, when they say, if you want to write up an email and just get your thoughts out, write up an email, don't ever hit send, just put it in the drafts, go back to it later, reread it. And sometimes it may be, you don't even need to send it. or you can just readjust it. It was kind of one of those things. It was a dump, a video dump, where I had taken my scrambled thoughts of how I wanted to deliver that Rode Wireless Go video. And then in the second take, because I had done this video dump, I feel like it was much smoother. However, talking about being kind to myself and not doing a million takes and understanding, all right, this is going to happen. When you watch the video, you'll see that I said the stupid gray cable, I called it green. Why? And I left that in. So I didn't beat myself up. I was kind to myself. I made a mistake. And if anything, I emphasized it in the video where I said, oh, and you'll see that the color is green. And then I looked at the camera and I was like, the gray, right? And you'll see it. But I was kind enough to myself and I wasn't trying to be perfect. It was like, all right. And I also showed people that I was real, that it's like, all right, listen, I'm making this video. I know it's not going to be perfect. I just need to get this out, right? Because then when you think about it, what's more important? What was more important to me at this point was that I actually moved the needle. I took an idea that I had put on from my brain on my iPad. I'm down in the studio. I set everything up. I'm actually recording. I felt good about my flow and it wasn't perfect, but I was going to get it out. So I left some of those takes. And now what was the second step? The second step and the second challenge where I'm continuing to sharpen my skills was editing. And so it was like, all right, do I make it fancy? And you'll see, there's not really, I threw in 2 call to actions at the very end. It was hit a like, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. And then in the middle, at some point I put, YouTube and I put my name. I put a quick intro slide in between, some intro music, some outro music, and then a little fade to black that I could have gotten better. The fade to black, if you really pay attention to that fade to black, it's a little stuttery. It's not the smoothest transition. And I knew that it wasn't the smoothest transition. And I was like, you know what? What's more important? Me making this perfect or me uploading the first video within the last 11 months? Getting this video out, because everything else, the basis of the video, I think was direct and to the point and concise. And it was concise. So it was like, all right, you know what? Let me get that out. So I edited it. I left it. I had to do some quick edits with just like the outros and cutting. And when I had too much spaces of just non-talking because I was moving around and stuff, I threw in some call to actions and I was like, listen, I need to get better with this. But the only way I'm going to get better with adding in a better intro slide and fixing my music to just come in, the audio fading in and the audio fading out it's only going to happen if I continue to do it, sharpening my skills. So this is the first video I've done in 11 months. Now I'll get better with the second video. And then I'll get even better with the third video. But the first step was doing this one video. And then the last 2 pieces to that were, because these are challenges. These were all opportunities that evil person on my shoulder could have just either made me miss that deadline of uploading a video before the 31st or just not had me do it at all. So the next challenge was creating a thumbnail, right? Because you hear, and you guys know, you guys are all in the content creation space. Oh, you better have a good, enticing thumbnail. This thumbnail better look good. And, we're in our groups and it's like, oh, let me get feedback on this. Let me get feedback, right? And so we're going crazy on what is it like? Is this going to get the click-through rate? Is this going to get the... I said it to myself. I knew I was going to go crazy with that thumbnail. And I said, absolutely not. I'm not going to do it. Because again, what's more important is uploading this video. So I created that thumbnail that's on there. I created it in probably 15, 20 minutes. And I took those pictures myself with my camera on my desk. Just put Rode Wireless Go to connect to iPhone, whatever, put it in, threw it on there. Good. Then the last piece of it that I am going to go back and edit it, but I didn't want it to stop, was the description and the tags. But again, it was a mantra the last 3 days. And I've done this. I recorded this video today, Saturday. I recorded this video the day before yesterday. So I did it very quickly. I had the momentum, and I see that Gary Jones Jr., he says it, momentum is critical. And you are 100% right. I had the momentum and I wasn't going to lose it over small, minuscule things. So I recorded the video on Thursday. I started editing. I did start editing yesterday. I started late. I got a little tired. My mind wasn't there. Put the pencil down. And I finished the edit today. Did the thumbnail today. And then when it was time to put the tags, I did some research using TubeBuddy. I did do some tag research, keyword research, and SEO and stuff like that. And then the description. I need to do a better job at descriptions, right? So like, I just put what it is, but I didn't put like none of my buy me a coffee. You can't find me on Instagram. I didn't put like none of that other stuff. But then that stuff I can go back and edit later on. Because again, the mantra, I need to get this video out. I need to get a decent description. Because at the end of the day, think about it, like people are looking, but people who need the answer, right? For me, when I did that video, I was setting out to solve a problem because I had the problem. Angie and I were supposed to record content last week when I went to pick up Koa. We were supposed to record and I had the Rode Wireless Go-Tos. She was going to call me on Anchor. I couldn't figure it out from the iPhone how I was going to be able to hear her. And I was so annoyed because I wasted 13 hours on the road where we could have had quality content with a quality microphone. But because I didn't know how to get the audio connected and get the Rode Wireless Go connected, and without spending $70 on a cable from Rode, I wasn't trying to do it. That's what prompted me to do that video because it was a pain point. I needed to solve the pain point for me. And I said, you know what? If this was a pain point for me, it's a pain point for someone else. So I also had that fire because it was a problem for me. I took advantage of the momentum and I did the video and I needed to make sure it was uploaded. All of those minor things, like if I want to do redo the thumbnail, I can redo the thumbnail. I can redo the description or add more to the description. But none of that wouldn't have mattered if I didn't edit and upload that video. And you know what's even more crazy was the video. As of this morning, I had 993 subscribers. And I was like, all right, I'll get there eventually. I'll get there. And I figured that I would get there within a few days. That's what I hoped. I said, 7 more subscribers. The Rode Wireless Go, that's a new audience. I'll probably get 7 subscribers within the next, couple of days or the next couple of weeks, the first couple of weeks, once a few people discover this video. Cool, I'll hit 1,000 eventually. I got those 7 subscribers within the first 15 minutes of that video being uploaded. Literally. And I pinned Sammy's comment because Sammy says, congrats on your 1,000 subscriber. And I was like, what? So within 15 minutes of that video, I gained 7 new followers that brought me over the threshold. But if I hadn't done everything that I did, I had the will. I reached out to my mentor. I asked to be held accountable. I planned. I put my plan in place. And I was dedicated and disciplined. If I didn't do all of those things and I didn't let perfection, I was kind to myself, right? So because perfection really means that you're not being kind to yourself when you're so caught up on being perfect. I was kind to myself and I said, listen, it don't need to be perfect. I messed up. I'm going to emphasize this mess up and hopefully I'll gain followers because I made them laugh and they appreciated my humor. I did that and look at the successes now that I'm celebrating with you guys. So, all right, let me go to the comments and it's an hour and a half. So we're right about the threshold where I'm like, yeah, we're going to end it. So I am going to go back to the comments. So Keith says, jokes aside, if you consistently ramble every Saturday and we are here for it, you are winning. Most of the biggest podcasters ramble. Between the ramble, you can structure content and upload. You're 100% right. You're 100% right. Because I know that if I go back in this hour and a half, I have some good micro content within the last hour and a half of things that I said. I know, like tonight, definitely, I know that there were things, and you know what I need to take advantage of? Now talking out loud. So I have a Rodecaster Pro, and with the Rodecaster Pro, if you're recording audio to an SD card, so now for me, right? Okay, so this goes back to planning and sharpening skills. So I'm going to now take advantage of another tool and resource, put an SD card in my Rodecaster Pro. When I start doing the live streams, I'm going to try to make it a habit to start hitting record directly to the Rodecaster Pro. And then you can put a flag within audio so that when I know that there were nuggets tonight that I hit, So now I'm going to start to get the muscle memory to hit the flag button. So like that, instead of searching through an hour and a half worth of content, when I open up the software and I look through the video, the file, I can just look directly for those flags. So I just, all right. So going back, but you're 100% right. And so you guys are all agreeing with because you guys are great. I love my community. We're all such a great community. Anyway, done that a few times. So Paul, you did that. So we laughed. So that was a group call with me, Doc, and Diana. And as soon as I told them, they immediately laughed at me. And Doc was like, listen, I did that earlier this week when I'm talking about when I went to hit finish and it said resume, he had recorded a whole video. So, Diana was like, I'm about to put in a whole beta request in the beta because they need to fix that because it's happened to the best of them. So get an inside scoop for the video, just like Doc was talking about this morning. Just get it done. That's it. That's what I kept telling myself. I need to get this done. Stop being your biggest, I'm my own worst enemy, right? It's that perfection syndrome, or just coming up with excuses and, I need to do this, so I can't do this, or making excuses to not do it, right? Diana said it yesterday in her live stream, making busy work. She said it yesterday. Could have sworn she said it yesterday. But making yourself busy just to be busy and you're not doing nothing. I said, I'm not going to do that anymore. So the mantra was, I need to get it done. And when I zeroed in on the day, that magic day for me was the 31st. Here I am. It's a win. I got it uploaded and shared with the community on the 29th, 2 days ahead of time. That's a huge win. Why is that a huge win? Because now since I'm 2 days ahead of my target, I can start recording my next video 2 days sooner, right? So now I'm like, all right, again, it goes back to Gary's comment, the momentum. Momentum is critical, and now I'm going to keep on. All right. So Keith says, I had to tap out with the critiquing post Vlogmas 2020. It got me off of what was working for me and I lost my momentum, right? So that self-critique is huge. You go back and you'll look at it, or you think about, and you're like, man, I could have done this, or I could have said that, or I didn't, whatever it is. So Carlos says, it's interesting how our ideal self can sometimes judge our real self. My ideal self is amazing, but can be sabotaged if I can't accept my real self, who sometimes fails to show up. 100%. 100%, right? So, yes. So Sylvia says, wow. Yeah, wow. Within 15 minutes, I was shocked. I was like, I saw, and I didn't know because, I had uploaded the video, and then, I get the notifications of comments because I have the YouTube Studio app on my phone and my iPad. So it immediately notified me that I had a new comment on the video, and because the video, and it'll also tell you within the first 14 minutes, within the, it gives you your statistics. It's whatever, it can be but Sammy said, and I was like, what? Within 15 minutes, I actually screenshotted it. Anyway, tonight was fire. Yes. Thank you, Sahatha. Thank you so much. Thank you for coming through. I appreciate that. So Carlos is responding to feel so alive. My ideal self might commit to being on my A game today, but what if I fail in that commitment? Accepting my real self with compassion helps me grow in my ideal self. And he was responding to feel so alive, saying, isn't it about growing into our future self? Definitely. So definitely growing into your future self. But that's the problem, right? So you set up all these expectations of, I'm going to do this, and this is and I do it all the time. I didn't ride my bike at all this week because, again, I have the puppy, so that was taking time. I haven't been sleeping because she's like a baby, so I've been tired. I don't have the energy, so I didn't ride my bike at all. And then this goes back to what Dr. Elo said, flexibility. So because I knew that I had this goal, I said, you know what, I'm going to be flexible because right now the puppy, taking care of her, and all of my free time is going with her and making sure I'm teaching her how to potty train and all of that stuff, right? And then getting this video up by the 31st was a big priority for me. So I said, all right, you know what, the bike, so how was I flexible? Yeah, it sucks that, I didn't work out for a week and a half or whatever, but I tried. For the most part, I ate healthy all week this week. I didn't eat junk food, right? Like I bought Chinese food yesterday because I just wasn't having it. But I was flexible in those things to say, okay, I'm not going to ride my bike the way I have been riding my bike because these are the other things that I need to adjust and adapt to. So you have the expectation of what you want to do, but then being kind, right? Showing yourself that self-compassion, because unexpected things come up, and it's like, don't beat yourself up. Don't sulk. Don't lull in that. It's, shake it off and adapt and say, okay, you know what? This didn't work for me last week. So this is what I'm going to do to pivot and find a way to make it work. Or just recognizing I can't do all of these things. So something is going to have to give. What does that look like? That's where the flexibility comes in that Dr. Elo mentioned earlier on. Anyway, all right. Carlos says, India's modeling how loving our real self helps us grow into our best self. Well, thank you. And I think so I got some new followers. We got 18 people. Come on, y'all. Y'all are quiet. We have someone who is, I'm trying to ban this person who is a spammer. Don't click on those links. I will not put it, but let me know, you guys. I'm just looking. I'm good. Thank you so much for coming through. Let's see. Do we got some, what does this sound like? I don't know. Trying to see some good outro music. Appreciate you guys. Catch you guys on the new one. That's kind of loud. That was kind of loud. Sorry, guys. I don't want to blow your ear brains out. Spam. Yeah, well, no, I'm not on Facebook. I am on just YouTube because I didn't reactivate my restream, so I'm not restreaming, so we're just on here. But I love you guys. I know that I have one of these that are lowered. Let me see. That's not low, but I'm using, while I try to test all of this stuff, this is with the Stream Deck. This is Stream Deck audio, so we'll just do this on the outro. Check out the video, y'all. I appreciate all of you guys. I will see you guys maybe not next week. But yes, you have your marching orders, find a mentor, get in a community, put yourself out there, create some content. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace out, y'all.